this meeting to order of the July 21st, 2020 Hudson County Board of Elections. And I appreciate everyone being here today. And we are streaming this live on YouTube, so please speak as loud as you can and as clearly as possible for everybody who's watching. Let's open with a word of prayer, if we would. Our Father, we thank you for the opportunities you give us. We thank you for blessing us, Lord. And Father, we just ask that the business we conduct here today be pleasing in your sight. We ask for your guidance. And again, we thank you for all the blessings you give us. And these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You see I have the agenda on the screen, as well as you should have a copy in front of you. Secretary's report. You have the minutes. You should have a copy of those minutes from last meeting. If you would take a moment, if you hadn't already, and read over those. All right, I'll take a motion in a second to accept these.
I second it.
We got, you make the motion?
Oh, I thought you said you made the motion.
So I'll take a motion and a second.
Okay.
Is there a motion? James?
I make a motion.
All right, second.
Second.
All right, motion by Ms. Janice Bennett and a second by Jack Groves. Are there any discussion or additions or corrections to the minute? No further discussion. All in favor of accepting the minutes as printed, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Same sign. All right, great. Moving on. I will point out that in the board member comments that you see in the meeting, it was brought up about using some county employees as poll workers in the coming election by Jessica Jones. Brought that last time as just a comment, so that is on our new business today's agenda for new business to discuss. And Pam's going to bring some things concerning that. We don't have anybody here to speak. I did not have any old business. Did anybody have any old business? All right, new business. First item for new business is a discussion of the staffing for the November election, and we're going to let Pam say a few words. Pam?
Yeah. So, Jessica did say that she would like to see some more, some county employees work at some of the precincts to handle the paperwork for, election day. So I talked to Cherie, who is our HR, and she has just told me to come up with some job descriptions and for the precincts. So me and Kelly kind of thought about it, and Robert too, that we can have a precinct operations manager, right? That'll be our current, poll managers right now. That would be over the operations of like the voters, the lines, and the poll pads, the BMDs, the scanners. And then we will have a precinct administrative manager who would be over just the paperwork. That because, and I know on election night, this past, and I know we understand that this is new paperwork. We understand that this is new machines. We get that. But election night, we cannot have poll workers come back to election room with paperwork not done. And we just want to make sure that it's like if it's a county employee, we feel like they would have more teeth in the game, and they're going to be held accountable because they're a county employee. These people would get have to take vacation time from the county for that day. But they will get paid through the elections office budget. So we're just, like I said, we're looking at to
So
have,
in other, excuse me, can I?
go ahead, yeah, sure.
So in other words, they would not get 8 hours because they're taking, do they get paid vacation?
Right. They're gonna take vacation,
Okay.
they're gonna get paid for that,
Okay.
but they gotta take their vacation day to be at precinct
I
at 6
understand.
o'clock, and
Okay.
then we're gonna pay them out of
Okay, I
that.
want to make sure they still got paid.
Yeah, which we're gonna pay them too now.
Yeah, I know.
But, yeah,
But,
so
But
like,
that's their vacation, that's their time.
so they still get paid back, okay?
yeah,
That's
and we
fair.
we have put it out to different people, you know, like that we think that make it do this at a particular precinct. And we're not taking anything away from the current poll, managers now. We just think this will help to like streamline it a little bit better.
Sure.
So that on the next day after the election, we're not scrambling, trying to figure out, opening up poll pads and looking at numbers and trying to write them down, and, you know, everything is more streamlined. That's
As
just,
a county employee, you got a better opportunity to train them too, right? I mean, they're right here with you, so.
The, it's a lot to do on a busy election. Even
Oh,
the primary that we had in the last one, toward the end of the night, it gets really busy as you approach 7 o'clock.
oh, yeah.
And when 7 o'clock strikes and the polls close and you still got a line of people, you know, this person can go ahead and be getting all that paperwork ready and already have recorded what they can. So we vote the last voter, and then their job, then the operations precinct manager can then worry about getting those machines closed up, getting the scanner reports done and closed up, and then let the other one handle that paperwork.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's
and so this would be like, you know, we're gonna have 2 managers at the precinct, but that's what these job descriptions are for, so that each will know what they have to do, what they're supposed to do, and who they communicate with, and they'll just know their tasks. And then the poll workers will just know their tasks, because we do have one for that also. And so we won't have like technically like 2 assistants, but we kind of will have 2 assistants, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be 2 managers and an assistant, but we technically still have 2 assistants.
Is this gonna start immediately?
We would like for this to be done for November election, because we do feel like, I mean, you know, June was not as bad because we had so many people vote by mail. So it's gonna be, we're not gonna have that many people this time, because the state's not mailing out, you know, all these
They're not gonna do
applications.
that.
They're not mailing out applications, but they are gonna mail out, anybody that was on the rollover list from June will automatically, if you're elderly or disabled, you will automatically get a ballot for November. So we're telling people that if you
You
mark,
can get one, Jack.
yeah, if you mark elderly and disabled on your, you know, your application, then you will get a ballot. But if they go ahead and call us and they don't want one, we can take them out of so they won't get one, so the state won't do that. But, you know, we just need to know that ahead of time. But we had like 1,300 people that, I think it was 1,385 that, should be on our rollover list.
1385
1,385 that we know for sure,
that will get
Would we
mailed
want
out
that?
unless we,
unless they change it. They can call us right now
I
and we can go ahead and just take it out, so they won't get one.
'Cause I
And
remember-
then we've already had people to call in to request a ballot also. You know, call in and get an application, they return it back, and they're like add-ons. So, but we will not have, you know, I don't think 3,000, almost, you know, what we have, 3,000 people to vote. I mean, so it's gonna be more people at the precinct,
Yeah,
so it's gonna be, you know,
hopefully,
or early voting.
our early voting.
we hope.
Now, early voting will not be, it will not be a precinct administrator, it won't be that for early voting. Because they can talk to us, it's more, you know, we can get there quicker, they got
You're
4
talking
weeks.
about
left.
on the election.
I'm just
day.
talking about for election day.
We need a motion.
Yeah, in a few minutes, go ahead, Pam, and
Okay.
blend in with this item about what you and I talked about
for early voting, for sure, I would like to purchase 2 iPads for the line, so that we have 2 poll workers outside the line, just checking to make sure that the people are indeed registered to vote in our county, wherever, just so we can make sure they are registered. So they won't have to just stand in line forever, because if they, when I tried to do the line before, when they came in the front door of the Civic Center, and they looked them up by the list, the electors list, some voters complained that they didn't want to walk that far up. So this time, they don't have to walk. The person to be right there, and they can just be beside them and say, okay, let me just look you up and see if you're in the system. I'm just trying to make it convenient for everybody. And then we can use those same poll pads for Town and Redbone, so they can use them on election day as well.
I think it's a good idea myself.
Well, I do too.
Yeah,
I mean,
same way.
especially
Anything to
Especially
expedite.
that pad going down and asking people, because that helps a lot, it really does.
You know,
We don't want anybody to get too much exercise.
Stop it, Jack, stop it.
we've got, on election day at Town and Redbone, I think we need 2.
Okay,
2 per precinct.
okay.
You know,
I would be for going ahead and getting 4.
4.
We'll use 2 of them in early voting, and then we'll use those same 2 plus the other 2 on election day.
Okay.
What would they use to look them up?
Well, that was gonna be my question to you. Should we do I can't remember how we did it before, when we had it at the Civic Center. So, we could give them access to ElectionNet, to look them up, because it's a web-based, because they can look them up that way. Because they just can't make any changes. They would have to use one of our passwords to get in, because if they do use it to they'll have to do like a test and all that kind of stuff. So, or if I can get the electors list and if we can get it onto those poll pads some kind of way, then we can use the electors list.
Well, what did when the kids from high school helped us, did they have a list, or they just filled it out for them, the form?
I can't remember what they did
Brenda would know.
that time. Because you remember they had something
They just did those phones.
at
That's what I
Town
think they did.
and Redbone, for sure.
They just had a list.
Yeah,
A
they
list.
just,
They looked at the
They had a
list.
paper list.
Okay.
And the paper list, it worked for early voting, but they can't have a paper list in line
No.
because it's too heavy, like it'll just be
Yeah, I
too
know.
much.
oh, man, yeah.
And trying to, they would just be.
Well, I think that's a great idea, I really do.
We want to make it convenient for everything I'm saying, I want to make it convenient, easy for the voter, but I also want to make it convenient and easy for the workers as
And
well.
you know,
And
whoever's going in that line, if they're an employee here, they're gonna know how to do that, so.
well, we won't do that for, it won't be anybody that works for the county doing that part.
Oh,
Mm-mm. The county person is going to mainly do paperwork.
Amen.
oh,
We want them to make sure that everything that comes off the poll pad, the BMDs and the scanner is recorded on those papers that we have to send to the state. That, 'cause
Yeah, I know.
we want to make sure they're right. And that we can read them.
once you've done.
We may have, like right now, the current precinct manager goes around, make sure the numbers are balancing during the day, taking the count and all. We may put that off on this new
They
administrative precinct manager.
the operation manager could do that and then bring it to the person, or either way. We just have to figure out, we need to do some trial and error on that, in that, see how that's gonna work.
The paperwork process is 99% or 95% after 7 o'clock.
Right.
So if this person's gonna be at the precinct all day long,
Yeah,
they're gonna need something else to do, because their main job ain't gonna hit till 7 o'clock, so.
but they will also, if someone comes in, and they're gonna be the point of contact for us.
Yeah.
So if,
That's correct.
just say
Those provisions.
provisional, say if someone comes in, they're not in the system or whatever, or they, already had a ballot or whatever, that person, the operations manager can tell everything else, you know, they can call us and we can get that looked up and taken care of on election day.
Sound like to me you got it well thought out.
In my head. In my head, I do.
Well,
There's no mention in the job description about provisional ballots.
No. Mm-mm.
I would suggest not necessarily putting that in there that way, but maybe adding a line about other duties as needed
Yeah.
and following under that. I would suggest putting that on all of them.
Right.
That way, a poll worker couldn't come back on us and say, well, no, you asking me to do this and it's not on my job description.
I thought I put this
But
somewhere.
if we just have a catch-all line on each one that says other duties as required or as needed,
Mhm.
I think
You think people.
Well, I did put at the very top, under general supervision, a person in this position maintains integrity and documentation of all administrative paperwork at the polling precinct on election day as required by election code. I didn't say provisional paperwork, but it kind of says,
kind of falls under.
kind of falls under that, is what I would
all
have to
this
say.
is great paper, yeah.
Right, administrative paperwork, you know, as required by election code.
Well, I think it does, in the major responsibilities, it says following duties are normal for this position, other duties may be required and
It's needed,
assigned.
yeah.
So she does have that in
Yeah,
there.
absolutely. That'll work for me.
Me too.
It's a catch-all.
Yeah, I kind of
So-
just want to make it so they, okay, paperwork as far as whatever has to be broke down, I need somebody that's going to do it correctly. So they will be at training, they will be at, these people, the kind of people will be at our training for poll worker training. And then we'll have us another like set aside just for the paperwork part for them after we do all the other training. Because they do need to know like what goes on election day. They don't need to, you know, they need to know about that stuff.
Just show up and feel like what's going on.
Right.
All right, so anything to add, Pam? We'll go ahead and
Well, let me get this straight now. The people from the county
Mhm.
will do the paperwork, but the people that we're going back to that's gonna be in the lines, and you said,
That's just gonna be a regular poll
That's a
worker.
regular poll
Mhm.
person.
Right.
is that, are these just for regular poll jobs right here? This is not the paperwork.
Right, no, they are. The operations manager is over the,
Okay.
and that's like your regular
Okay.
precinct manager. And then the administrative manager is the paperwork, and then the poll worker one is just for the poll worker. Like, they can just be a regular.
yeah, these are
clerk.
three different job descriptions.
Yeah, I knew that, but I wasn't sure after we talked about the person in line.
Yeah, the person in line will be just a regular poll worker.
Just a regular poll worker.
Mm-hmm.
We may get some high school kids who,
But that's fine with me.
you know,
They did.
They did
good
the
job.
poll.
I'll entertain a motion for this and then we'll,
I guess first entertain a motion for the job descriptions, and then do one for, we can buy some poll pads.
All right, I'll make a motion that we adopt the
Job description.
job descriptions as outlined by our supervisor, Pam Rowe.
is there a second?
I second.
All right, motion by Jack Grubb and a second by Janice Bennett. Is there any other discussion that we need to have, anybody, concerning the job descriptions?
I think, just like that, she's done a great job. And
Absolutely.
Kelly also, tell Kelly we appreciate it.
All right, here, no other discussion. We have a motion and a second to adopt the job descriptions for precinct administrative manager, precinct operations manager, and precinct poll worker. All in favor of accepting these, raise your right hand. Any opposed?
Let me just add this too, real quick. I'm going to have a meeting, or at least discuss, let the poll managers, precinct managers now know that this is gonna, I'm gonna call each of them or have them come in so I can discuss this with them, so they won't just get,
Bombarded.
yeah, they won't just, election day, here you go, or at the training, here you go. I want them to know that it's gonna really benefit them as well, not just, you know, from us.
Sure.
All right,
That's it, I got it.
passes. Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
For putting this together. And,
You need a motion on the poll pads?
on that iPads.
iPad.
Okay,
Let's
that's-
don't, yes, we will get a motion on that, but we don't need that for technical reasons, it's a iPad.
Oh,
Because I
right.
just, if we're gonna use ElectionNet, to do that, then we're gonna have to look at some tablet choices, because,
Oh, okay,
ElectionNet requires you to use Internet Explorer, and that's not an iPad thing,
okay.
and that's a Windows thing. And, so we
I
may
mean,
wind up having to get a different kind of tablet.
Mhm.
So let's just do it with that being said in the motion, just a tablet. So, does anybody want to form a motion on the purchase of 4 tablets?
I make a motion that we give Pam, I guess, the authority to buy tablets for election day.
Early voting in election day?
Early voting and election day.
Second.
All right, motion by Janice and second by Jack. What about, well, let's just go ahead. All in favor of, raise your right hand, please. All right, any opposed? All right. Very good. We'll sit down and talk about the technicalities of it. As far as budget, do you have budget for that?
I should. I should.
We'll talk with,
Talk to Ellen and all
well, yeah, but we'll talk with the Secretary of State's office, or the technical people up there about how we can make that happen on a tablet with ElectionNet, the ElectionNet people. Get over that. All right, great. Any other things to discuss, Pam, in this item on the agenda? Staffing? Are we done? Training's our next topic.
I don't know how many poll workers, after we do this, I don't know how many poll workers I will, I just don't know how many poll workers I'm gonna have, or that want to work. And then with COVID and everything, so if y'all know of anybody, or that would like to be a poll worker, they can come to the office and fill out the form for that. That would be, we just kind of always wanna have people, it's always good to have too many, so, not enough.
I mean, it's really a shot in the dark right now about what will happen with COVID. We can say we're not gonna have that many paper ballots,
Yeah,
but who knows what's gonna happen between
Yeah.
now and November.
That's true.
So we're just gonna have to play it by ear and do what's necessary when we get closer to November. All right, next item is training for the November general election. We won't do this today, but be thinking about, or Pam and I primarily, be looking at some dates. We'll bring back to the meeting next month on how we're gonna go about the training. We had some poll pad training, was that last week or the week before last?
It was last week.
Last Monday. Last Monday, we had a poll pad training at the Civic Center for poll managers and their designees to come in, and it was put on by No Inc., which is the manufacturer of the poll pad system. And it went well. I picked up a few things from that, primarily about just changes they're making as we go. I mean, they're tweaking the system
based on the results of the last election. You know, what worked good and what didn't, and they're tweaking. They made some changes to the status of voters, what the poll worker sees as the status. So, like when, let's say you, Janice, that you went to early voting, or let's say you voted by a paper ballot or requested a paper ballot, and then you showed up on election day to try, to vote. The message that the poll worker sees is now they've changed that to be a little more descriptive about exactly the situation. So before, if somebody had voted a paper ballot, I forget exactly what the poll worker saw, but it was a status that said.
It said absentee.
It just said absentee.
On the poll.
Pad.
Right. So they've changed that now to where if somebody was sent an absentee ballot but hasn't returned it yet, we don't have it back in yet, it just says absentee, it says absentee issued.
Mm-hmm.
And if we've already received it in, it shows something different.
Like
It shows
absentee voted or something.
absentee received or absentee voted. And it's the poll worker can tell a little bit more about the status of where that vote is now. So if we haven't received it in yet, it just says absentee issued, then you automatically know you're going to have to cancel that ballot or the voter's going to have to surrender that ballot in order to be able to vote. Since this is being live streamed, I want to encourage everybody that's watching this or sees this to, if you get a paper ballot, but you decide you want to cancel that and vote early or on election day, either one, do that before you show it at the precinct. Call the office and do it ahead of time. Do it, so that when you get to the precinct to vote, that's not a 10-minute process. So we can't let you vote on election day or at early voting having a paper ballot mailed out to you. And that's a process we have to go through. That's what holds up the line. That's at a minimum of 7 to 10 minute process. What I told in the poll pad training the other day, what I told those poll managers was that in November, when that situation arises, the poll worker who's working the poll pad, they're going to need, as soon as they find out that this is a ballot that's got to be canceled, they need to hand that voter off to the poll manager.
Right.
Which in this case is going to be this new administrative poll manager. Hand them off to them and continue processing voters.
So that person can call the office, and that way they can cancel the ballot, they can relinquish the ballot, and then they can get back in line, they can go back and to the front of the line and go ahead and go through.
Because we had, even though we had 4 poll pads there, and we started directing people to the first available poll pad, we rendered that one where the problem was happening, we held that up.
Right.
We could have been processing voters there, but that was being held up by somebody who wanted to cancel their paper ballot.
Right.
And that's calling the office, and they have to verify, and then we have to go in there and change the status. All that can be done by the poll manager. We can continue processing people. So I'm hoping that's going to be a much more efficient process in November than what we. And of course, that's the first election. Right? We're learning. We're learning as we go in a lot of cases, seeing what works and what doesn't. There may be some of these things that don't work after we see it. It just didn't work after November. We just have to be fluid in our processes.
Right.
So, all right, we'll lay out some training dates to bring next month and a little bit better idea of how we want to approach training. Pam had some training prior to the last election. When I was quarantined and wasn't there.
which are the video, she showed the videos that the state had created and published, and everyone seemed to like that. And we may take a little more of that approach in getting ready for November's training. We may have to have some multiple trainings instead of just having one, especially with new people that haven't worked before, because we got some people who just don't want to work anymore because of COVID. So we got to replace them with people who may not ever have worked elections. So in those cases, we might have to have some multiple trainings. And some of that may require that poll worker to do some on their own, watching some of these videos on their own time. And anyway, I think we'll have a better handle on that by the next meeting. But last week, the poll pad training went well. There was another poll pad training that we had to have. It was just for me and Pam and Bill. Were you in on it?
No, we didn't get pictures, no, in time to send pictures.
Bye, Miss Janice.
But I gotta go.
Good luck.
Sorry.
I wasn't on it either.
Kelly did.
I called Bill. I just couldn't break away from what I had going. And Bill said he didn't learn anything.
Kelly said the same thing we already.
We'd already been doing it, so I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything else on training?
Now, I just want to tell y'all that early voting starts October the 12th for November.
Early voting starts October the 12th,
Yes,
which will be a Monday, and it runs through Friday what day?
the 30th, October 30th. And-
October 12th through 30th.
Right, and then Saturday voting is October 24th.
Saturday vote, October the 24th. Now Saturday, just for the sake of those watching on YouTube, advanced or early voting happens normally Monday through Friday, and it's from 8:30 to 4:30. So we don't start processing voters at early voting or advanced voting until 8:30, and anybody not in line at 4:30 does vote that day. The Saturday vote, the time is different. When we vote on that one Saturday, which is that middle Saturday of the 3-week period, that is from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it seems to confuse people a lot of times, even though we publish that in several places, those times. But Saturday is 9 to 4. The other Monday through Fridays are 8:30 to 4:30. All right.
And election day is 7 to 7.
Yes, election day is November the 3rd, 7 to 7. All right, and any other thing to discuss about training before we move on? All right. Well, that's all I got. Any other new business that anybody has wants to bring? Jack?
Yes,
Are we still live?
All right. Well, board member comments. Jack, any comments?
well,
For the good of the order?
just glad we didn't have to wear a mask in here this morning. We're social distancing just right, it looks like. And glad to see everybody.
Good to see you.
And I'm just really proud of Ma'am Robert. Y'all do a great job.
Thank you.
I'm proud to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Pam does a great job.
She did, she's on top of, this reminds me, what you're doing reminds me of being a football coach. You prepare for a game. best you can, but there's always gonna be a surprise.
Oh, yes.
So I think you covered it pretty good. I don't think we're gonna have a real serious surprise, but let's hope we don't. But you're gonna have the personnel there to take care of it, and that's what you want with football coaching, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta be ready for the surprises if you can. And of course, the other football coach, you want to surprise them. Anyway, y'all done a great job of trying to think of everything you can think of. I appreciate it as a citizen of Upton County.
I appreciate that. Eric, anything? All right. I'll just end by saying, I echo, Jack, what you have said. Pam, we appreciate all you do, and Kelly and Elaine, the whole staff over there, does a great job.
They do, they really do.
That takes a lot off of me, because I don't have to worry about things getting done, they get done. And, I appreciate it. I will be, getting with you about the capital stuff. If we don't do it today, we'll do it next week, but, we'll try this afternoon, I'll try to talk about it. If you could go ahead and look at your budget, see kind of where we might could dig that out.
Well, you know, what's good is that we didn't, I don't say we did good, but we didn't have an election day for the March. So I didn't pay poll workers for that. So that kind of took away that money that I would have paid. So I kind of look at it that way. Like, okay.
Good point.
All right. Any other comments? Well, thank you, office, for all y'all do. And,
We're trying.
doing good. And,
How hard it can be.
so, if nothing further, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Oh, wait, next meeting. We're going to.
Oh, yeah, next meeting, what's your third Tuesday? What is it?
August the 18th.
August 18th. I'm down with that.
Okay.
August the 18th at 10 o'clock. We'll more than likely meet right here in this room.
That was such a mess downstairs, we couldn't get in anyway.
Watch out now.
And there's a bear in there.
Exactly. We do have the equipment that I can quickly set up a live stream in that office. The city of Thomaston has reserved this room for court every Tuesday until they get court caught up. But they did cancel, had already canceled this day.
Okay.
But in August, they may be in here having court.
Okay.
So we may be in the other, our normal meeting place. I'll have a camera there to live stream that if, I can set that up fairly quickly. But, all right, so August 18th, 10 o'clock. Any other comments? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor of adjourning, please raise your hand.
You know,
Any opposed?
she's so talented, she can vote and write at the same time. She's left-handed, see, and you say right hand, so she throws that right hand. That's pretty good.
That's
She's
pretty
ambidextrous.
Next time I'm gonna say raise your left hand.
Uh-oh. She
Yeah,
probably can write with her right hand then.
All right,
It would be
let me
pretty.
get the live stream shut down.
I gotta get a six charade.
I want to give y'all a pat you on the back for making a 78-year-old walk up on them steps. I was headed back down. I was finna take one more step up here, and then I saw Pam.
He's like, yeah, I'm like, where's he at?
She thought I was in the ceiling up there. Where y'all keep that? I was headed in the right direction.